Hi there, I'm Helen Baines, believer, wife, mother, and today I would like to share with you my story. So, I had a pretty privileged upbringing. I was brought up in a Christian household. I did well in school, but I had struggles. I was always quiet. In fact, in the yearbook, it says the quiet one. But why was I quiet? At a meeting, I stuck with my small group of friends. I didn't really branch out. I didn't find out how others were doing, and yet I cared. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. At work, I finally found my fit. Everything was a process. You just made that process work better and better and better. So I excelled at work, but it was like me at work. And then everywhere else, I kind of had these little groups going on, and it was never quite tying up. Nothing was quite the same. Then I got this thing figured out with work. This was going to be great. But then I saw that if I was going to continue down that path, if I ever got married, if I ever wanted children, they weren't going to fit in that picture because I was so focused on work. Somebody else was going to have to bring up my children. So I broke children out of the plan. They weren't happening. This was good. I was just going to work. That was my thing. And then I met my husband. Now, he was fine with the no kids thing. I was doing well with my work. He actually had no job. He'd just been through school. The economy was down. He couldn't find work. And I'd already had my notice in. Our wedding was looming. I was moving to Canada. I wasn't going to be able to work here. Life was just crazy. I got offered another job at the same company to do something bigger, something better. I could be living my dream. And it got pretty close to wedding date. And I was like, well, maybe I should do this. Maybe we should come to UK. The path was paved for us. We could have moved to the US and I could have followed through on my career, this job opportunity I was offered. He could have moved to UK and we could have followed through and he would have had a job. It was all set up for us. Yet something just wasn't ringing true. And I actually turned the job down. And I got told by my boss and everybody there, you are so crazy. You are 21. You're not going to find a job offer like this anywhere else. But I turned it down. Why? Because my husband had to be able to provide for his family. He needed that for his confidence. He needed that to become who he is, the guy he is today, and the husband and father that he now is. But if I'd taken that job, I would have taken that from him. There was also a learning curve for me in there. I had to learn to be dependent on somebody else, not to just trust myself. But it's been such a period of growth too. Within 1 hour of turning that job down, he had a job offer. It was like God had to see that I was just clinging to him. I was going to put everything in his hands and he was going to work it out for me. And he did. Jesse got that job offer. And he's seen us through every step of our married life. Now, I had job opportunities since I moved to Canada. I had some very good jobs, some incredible opportunities, but there was always something missing. With those perfect, dream jobs, the perfect career, I'd be in the middle of making dinner, which was my priority. That was what I wanted to do. I wanted to make a home and I wanted the career. I wanted to have it all. And yet my time was being it was like a battle for my time. What am I going to do? I was always torn this way, this way, this way. What am I going to do first? And life was a scramble. So eventually I decided, well, enough's enough. I took a different job. I took little jobs here and there, but I kept getting bored. I'd solve the problem there and then I'd need to be on to something else. I'd solve the problem there and then I'd need to be on to something else. I was hopping around and just didn't really know what I was doing in life. So then the idea of kids popped into my head. Well, maybe I'll have kids and that'll, fill this void. It'll figure things out for me. Well, that didn't happen. It was a long wait for kids. It got to the point where we didn't even know if it would happen. And here was me that was going to be okay with that. I had my career. I had everything figured out. But children was something I couldn't plan for. It was completely beyond my control. It wasn't like I could just go get a job and pay these bills. It was just outside of my control. And there was a lot that I had to go through in that waiting time. That was a struggle, but I wouldn't go back and change anything of that now. So in that time, I decided I'd drive a school bus. And everybody laughed at me. They're like, seriously, you're going to get so bored driving a school bus. But it's actually one of the most fun jobs I've ever had. It was like, you could learn something new about every single person on that bus. I drove complex needs students when I was in Calgary, and it was just such a treat. Life was simple. They just got on the bus. You drove them. You dropped them off. Had a good day. Wished I was the first smile that some of those kids had seen in the morning, the last smile that some of them would see at night, but I just made sure it happened. It gave me a purpose. So then, bus driving. I got this under control. What do I do next? I decided I'm going to train. And so I learned to be a school bus trainer. big yellow buses. Any UK people, you've seen them in movies. I was out driving them. I was training people to drive them. It was a lot of fun. It was a real stage in personal development, an amazing journey. So I did that in Calgary first. And if any of my wonderful colleagues from there are watching, hello, I miss you all. And thank you for what you taught me in that period. I learned so much confidence in myself, but I learned some skills that I wouldn't have learned any other way. And I really just appreciate that journey. So I moved out here and to Strathmore, and I set up the training program and helped do some driver training there. Now, when I was training, I was telling people, this is your license. You're a professional. You need to take control of this. This is your job. You've got a big responsibility on your shoulders. I'm training this, but I never actually driven for the company. So anyways, fast forward a little while. I've got the dream job. I'm good. The whole idea of kids goes out my head. This is God's plan for me. I'm good with this. Surprise, surprise. I get pregnant with my son and life has turned upside down again. But it was just all in God's hand, the way it worked out. So anyways, I've got the perfect job lined up. I'm going to drive a school bus. I can take my little guy with me, which solves my problem for what I would have had when I was back in the UK working. Well, how am I going to juggle a child plus a career that's taking up all my time? So here we go. I'm going to drive a bus. Okay, fast forward to like snow days, because we get a lot of them here. Anyone who's been following me, you'll see my pictures of snow. It's only November, and yeah, it's Christmas out there. So I was driving, and it gets to a really snowy day, and I'm like, this is not safe. This is the point when I would tell somebody else that they shouldn't be driving, because what if you get stuck? How are you going to keep all those children warm? What if you hit a car? There was just too many ifs for me to want to drive. And yet when I made the call to say I am not running my bus this afternoon, it almost felt like I was an inconvenience. So how could I stand there? And when I was training, how could I have said one thing to the drivers, but yet be on the receiving end another way? Anyways, fast forward, get pregnant with my daughter. I decide I'm not going back driving the bus. So that was that. So what happens now? This is the exciting part. I mean, guys, if you don't watch anything else, even fast forward the rest of it if you need to. This is the life I am living. Life is just simple. I get to be myself. For the first time in my whole life, every single part of me is just caught up in one. And I'm so, so, so thankful for it. I get to make my career as a wife, a mother, a believer on the Lord Jesus. I can just include this all as my story, and I'm living it. And it's simplified things so much that I have more to give. You might suddenly notice me reaching out, sending messages to people who I've lost touch with, or maybe they thought I'd forgotten or didn't care. I was just so overwhelmed trying to live too many lives. And yet the opportunity to get paid to cook for and feed my family has just been unbelievable. I got out of that what's for dinner rut, and I'm being paid to do so. Plus now I get to share that opportunity with others. I get to encourage others to simplify their lives, build a brand as themselves, not trying to be somebody else, just truly living their lives 100% for themselves. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited to learn more about what other people are doing because I have time. I read a book recently about Plan B. And what it said in there is we all come across stressful situations. Now, in stressful situations, we tend to panic. But how can we reduce that sense of panic? If somebody's given a panic button or an out, their stress reduces just so much. It's crazy. So I decided, you know what? I can be that panic button for people. I'm here. I do care. I'm sorry I haven't reached out to you all individually. I will try and get there. But if you're in a situation where you're not comfortable, you don't know what's going to happen, just reach out because I'm here. Let me be your panic button to relieve that stress of whatever situation you're in. I'm here. I can listen. There might not be anything else I can do. I can pray for you, but I can listen, and I'm here and I care. So thanks everybody for taking the time to watch my story. I can't even put into words how grateful I am that I get to make a career of being a believer, a wife, and a mother. Everything is encompassed. I just live my life. I share it, and I let others get to live their lives more. And it's too much, but I am so thankful, and I just wanted to share with you all. So thank you for taking the time. It's long. I apologize, but thank you anyway. Bye, everybody.